Hello and welcome to TitleTown Throwdown. This is episode number 10. I am your host, Nick LeBlanc, and a lot to get to in such a small amount of time. And as you saw rolling on the bottom of your screen, breaking Boston Celtic news. I did not have this planned at all. I plan on talking some Bruins, which we will get to here very soon. I was thinking about talking about some Red Sox and then obviously the Patriots as well. But this Celtic news overtakes the Red Sox news, so the Red Sox news is going to get pushed aside another week. That's fine, though. Nothing's going on in the baseball offseason anyway. It's as dead as a mouse as you see on a mousetrap. Okay, I'm gonna put it that way. It's as dead as a mousetrap. Anyway, though, but breaking news that just broke down, not even about maybe an hour ago, about maybe 30 or so minutes ago, Gordon Hayward has opted out of his contract to the Celtics. He walks away from $34.2 million, and he becomes an unrestricted free agent. Now, there's already some teams that are showing interest. Teams like the New York Knicks who are already showing some interest. And really, if you're the Knicks, you're just trying to get some butts into the seats at this point because the Knicks are just brutal. They are brutal to watch. All right, but then no, it's another New York franchise that thinks they know what they're doing, but they really don't. All right, but anyway, though, Gordon Hayward, though, he had a very injury-riddled year. Okay, so let's look at this man right here, Dan. Gordon Hayward. All right, so now we look at Hayward and we see this, okay? Just a lot of just disappointment in his Celtics career. It is only a 3-year career of a 4-year max contract that he signed back in 2017. But Gordon Hayward, though, he has battled injury after injury after injury after injury since coming to the Boston Celtics from the Utah Jazz. Hayward missed all of the 2017-18 season due to that horrific leg injury that you never wish upon any athlete. We saw it happen to Dak Prescott earlier this season. And that happened on his Celtic debut nonetheless. So Hayward's first season with the Celtics, wiped out. His second season, still battled injuries, still missed time, but we got the more healthier Gordon Hayward that we thought that we would. But for some reason, though, Hayward just couldn't gel with guys like Tatum, Brown, Kyrie Irving. We knew what big of a pain in the butt he was. So, and really, the Celtics didn't really start to see what Gordon Hayward had until really, the 2018-19 campaign, even though as tumultuous as that season was for the Boston Celtics, it just was not pretty. All right, let's get that straight, okay? It was not a pretty season for the Boston Celtics. Yeah, they made the playoffs. Yeah, they went to the second round, but here's the thing. Yeah, prima donna Kyrie Irving trying to run the show like he's the GM and says, all these young guys have to follow me. And calling these young guys, it's like they're young adults, dude. They're first, second-year players, all right? At least put a little bit of respect on that. Even you had to smile. Even the picture I showed of Alex Cora, you had to smile and just be like, what? Like, what are you talking about, Kyrie? Anyway. But anyway, though, so Gordon Hayward, though, returning to form last season of the 2018-19 season, he averaged 17.5 points, 6.7 rebounds, and 4.1 assists while shooting 50% from the field. What was more harmonious to the Celtics locker room. So now, Gordon Hayward, Boston made it to the East Finals this past season before Danny bounced by the Miami Heat in 6 games. But we didn't really see much of Gordon Hayward really in the bubble or really in the playoffs. Gordon Hayward missed 12 of the 17 Celtic playoff games because of guess what? An injury. Go figure. So Gordon Hayward, if he's just not staying on the court consistently, if you're the Celtics, you're Danny Ainge, you have to wonder, okay, well, what's this guy's issue? What are we gonna do to really just get this guy going? And look, Gordon Hayward, he was probably as healthy as a moose back in Butler and as healthy as a moose in Utah. Then here he comes to Celtics 3 years. In his 3 years, injury-riddled Celtic tenure. Now again, you'd be like, well, but Nick, Kemba Walker came here. He's healthy as a moose down in Charlotte. He played through everything. Then he comes up to Boston. He's injury-riddled. Yes. But Kemba got injury-riddled because of all the wear and tear that he suffered when he was up playing with the Charlotte Hornets. So when you had to play through injuries in one place, and you get those same injuries in another place, the other place is going to say, look, dude, we got to keep you out. We got to keep you out. We want to protect you. We want to keep you sane for the rest of your career. And that's something I think that was really good that the Celtics did. They did not want to rush Kemba Walker. They didn't rush Gordon Hayward either. But yet, Gordon Hayward was the piece of the Celtics that you had to try to move. And Danny Ainge tried so hard to try to get rid of him, and it did not work. It did not work. Danny tried to trade Gordon Hayward during the draft last night. That backfired. Look, a lot of teams probably looked at that salary. The $34.2 million salary for the 2020-21 season and all of his injury history. Teams are going to do this to you. They're going to back away. They're saying, no, I don't want to deal with that. That's your problem. I don't want that to be my problem. So probably what Gordon Hayward did is that he probably did not only himself a favor, but the Celtics a favor. Hayward can go where he wants and the Celtics don't want to give up anything to just get rid of him. So I'm not sure how this $34.2 million is going to go, whether the Celtics retain every cent of that, whether a portion does go to Hayward, whatever. All I know, one thing I do know is this. Whoever signs Gordon Hayward is going to get him for dirt cheap. And what's dirt cheap for a guy like Gordon Hayward who can still give you some production when healthy? Maybe somewhere in the ballpark of maybe $8, maybe $9 million. Now, whether that's for a season or two, who knows? I don't. I'm the wrong guy to have asked about numbers and contract stuff. I'm not the right guy for that, okay? I barely passed math. I can do simple math, but not the bad math that takes forever to do it. But Gordon Hayward opting out, though, of his contract with the Boston Celtics. Now, if you're the Celtics, you lose a 6'7" guy on your court. Now, who does this pave the way for? And now, it could easily pave the way for Taco Fall to maybe take over those reins. We don't know. Taco Fall hasn't really had much NBA court experience, extremely limited minutes, but the guy, Taco Fall is still a mystery up with the Celtics. So it's really, I don't think the Celtics know what to do with him. Taco Fall doesn't know what the Celtics have planned for him. We don't know. What we do know is that the Celtics don't have to worry about a size guy. They got Taco Fall. They got their size guy right there. But this will really cause maybe a guy like Kemba Walker to try to find a rehab thing that will keep him healthy throughout a full season. And look, the NBA season is still going to roughly be a full season. 72-game season, you're wiping out 10 games, which is really divisional games at this point. And I wanted to touch up on that. So the Celtics right now, their schedule is going to be split into two different halves. The first half will be an all-conference based schedule, so 42 games between the Eastern Conference, and before I read, it's going to be 3 games each, 3 games apiece for each team. So out of that, the Celtics are going to get 24 home games and 24 road games out of that sequence. My math is off. 21 home games, 21 road games. See, I told you I wasn't good at math. And so then that'll be half number 1. Then you have the All-Star break. Half number 2 will be all teams against the opposite conference. So that's where the final 30 games make up. So you're going to have 15 home, 15 road. Simple. So we're still going to have all that for the NBA. In the NBA, they're expanding the postseason again from 16 teams to 20 teams. So 10 teams per conference are going to make it. Again, you're going to have a play around between 8 and 10, between 7 and 10 and 8 and 9. Those 2 teams, whereas those games or series, if you want to call them, will go into the top 16. So, and then so on and so forth. So the NBA has a plan. We just don't know when the schedule is going to come out. And if I'm the NBA, I'd want to release that schedule soon because a lot's going on. You say you want to start up again December 22nd. Well, you better figure out when you're going to release that schedule and when training camp's going to start up, because you haven't even had free agency yet. You just had your draft. You don't know when's free agency going to start, unless that starts, at midnight. I don't know. But a lot needs to happen in the NBA in such a short amount of time, and we had to see where it's going to go. We don't know where it's going to go, where the NBA is going to take us. All right. So there's your Celtics fix. There's your breaking news headline. A lot more on that story is going to develop over time over the course of once this show ends, and so on and so forth. All right. When will we see our beloved Boston Bruins? And did you see the reverse retro jerseys? I got the picture. I got the concept that they're going for. You'll see that right after this. You're listening to TitleTown Throwdown right here on all SFBNRI platforms. All right, welcome back to TitleTown Throwdown. Once again, I am your host, Nick Monk. Now we're going to transition over to the NHL. We haven't heard much from the NHL since they awarded the Stanley Cup back in September 28th. So it's been nearly 2 months since the NHL said goodbye. We'll see you very soon. As you see rolling on the bottom of your screen, rumor NHL players are angry with the owners over deferred salaries, and now the season could potentially be in question. Now, I'm going to reiterate that in just a moment because we need to unpack a lot here about the National Hockey League. Okay, we need to unpack a lot about the NHL. So, what is up with the NHL right now? I don't know. So, I wrote an article earlier this week. I hope you checked it out about when we're going to see the Bruins return to the ice. And that question is, we don't know. We still don't know. Now, as I said, along the bottom of your screen, we're not sure if the NHL is going to play a season right now. Now, other NHL-related news that is not season-based, hopefully not, can't guarantee it, but other Bruins news I'm going to get to in just a minute. So, Commissioner Gary Bettman said that he would never, ever, ever, ever ask the players to return to a bubble for an entire season. They agreed to it, probably unwillingly, but they agreed to it, to go into a bubble for the Stanley Cup playoffs in July. They agreed upon that. Now, July is going to be an important month. We're going to get to that in just a second. So Bettman's already said that he is not going to ask the players to do a bubble for a whole season. Now, one thing that they might ask the players to do is maybe a hub city rotation. So they're in one location for a couple weeks, return home for a week to practice, relax, be with the family, go to another neutral site for a couple of weeks, and then rotate in and out. And then hopefully the NHL's goal is to gradually remove away from the hub cities and play, and teams are playing games in their own arenas. That is the goal. Now, a lot is still to be determined with, the COVID restrictions. The U.S.-Canadian border still remains closed. And unlike Major League Baseball and the National Basketball Association, where they can just take their Toronto-based teams, throw them in North America, and call it a day, and be like, all right, you're going to play here for the season. We're going to help you with this, and that. No issues, no problem. The NHL doesn't have that same luxury. The NHL has seven Canadian teams based in Vancouver, British Columbia, Calgary and Edmonton, Alberta, Winnipeg, Manitoba. Sorry, I blanked out for there a minute. Winnipeg, Manitoba, Toronto and Ottawa, Ontario, and Montreal, Quebec. So there's your seven. There are your seven NHL Canadian-based teams. So, but this is a luxury that the NHL can actually work with. It will be a temporary realignment. So you got 24 North American teams. You got 8 teams there in the Pacific, 8 teams in the Central, and you got another 8 teams in the Atlantic. And then you'd have that one division that's north of the border between the Canadians, Maple Leafs, Senators, Jets, Oilers, Flames, and Canucks. So you have a Canadian-based team. A Canadian-based division. And then you can go East, Central, West, which is probably the best way to line up some of the divisions. So, for example, for the 2020-21 season, the Bruins could be playing against teams like the Penguins, the Flyers, the Capitals, Rangers, Islanders, to name a couple. So, it'll be more of a geographical type division. So, you'll have your division. You'll still got the Buffalo Sabres in there, geographically speaking. Toss in the Islanders and the Rangers, the Flyers, the Penguins, the Devils, and then quite potentially you got the Washington Capitals. No, I think I did that wrong then. Okay, so let's just start that for a minute. I'm sorry. You got you in Boston, Massachusetts. You got Buffalo in New York. The Rangers and Islanders. Okay, so there's 4 teams already. Then you got the Penguins, the Flyers in Pennsylvania, the Devils in New Jersey, cannot exclude them. And then more likely or not, you're going to have the Washington Capitals. So that'll make up 8 teams in that one division. The other division is going to be a combination of said teams. Panthers, Lightning, Hurricanes, Blue Jackets, Blackhawks, Blues, Stars. And maybe toss in the Winnipeg Jets there. So potentially toss in the Colorado Avalanche in that division to make up the Minnesota Wild, yes. Toss in the Wild, that makes up the other 8. That will be the quote-unquote Central Division. And then in the West Division, you're going to have the Kings, Ducks, Sharks, Coyotes, Avalanche, the Golden Knights. Drawing a blank on the other two teams, but that's not important. You get the drift. You get the gist of what I'm trying to say here. But as you saw on the bottom of your screen here, what came out today, and I read this before the show. I unfortunately do not have this is just a rumor. Not sure if it's confirmed or not. But the NHL players are angry with the owners over deferred salaries because back in July, when they agreed to a new collective bargaining agreement for 6 years, players' salaries would be deferred at 10%. Now, in order to recoup a little bit of revenue stream, the owners want the players to go up an additional 13%. And that's where the players are a little miffed. Rightfully so. You agreed upon one thing 4 months ago, and now all of a sudden you want to reverse course and do this, and that. And now a rumor saying that if the players do not accept what the owners are saying, the owners are going to cancel the 2020-21 season. That just will not be a good look for the NHL. All right, you really had to work your butt off after the 2004-05 canceled lockout season, and you were still getting fans back from there. Then, again, you had to try to win your way back with the fans for the 2012-13 lockout. You had a season. There was only 48 games compiled from mid to late January to all the way through May, all the way through April. Then you had the Stanley Cup playoffs in May and June, and then that was it. Got back on track, and now that you're going to have this labor peace for 6 years, now you just want to ruin that and threaten to cancel the season based off of a few $1 million? Now look, do I blame the players? No. Do I think that it is ridiculous that a season's going to come down to money? Yes. We nearly had a canceled Major League Baseball season because of money. Yet the MLB players and the owners, they turned around on anything. That's one thing. We're heading to an MLB lockout probably after 2021, so get ready for that, kiddos. But they were able to have a 60-game season, and they got through with a lot of issues, but they got through it. Okay, I apologize for that. I don't know what happened there. I do not know what happened there. But anyway, though, you had this misconception of this, and that. And you got in the NHL, you got through your bubble, no problem. You got through that, no problem, no issues. Sorry, that is a segment for later. A little technical issues here. So my apologies for that. Anyway, though, you have all of this going on. Major League Baseball is able to make it work. The NFL has made it work. The NBA has made it work. The salaries, let's take the salaries out of it. You're telling me that that you as players and you as owners can't come to a certain agreement? Really? We're having this much trouble just trying to get back on the ice? For me as a fan, I just want to see hockey. I just want to see some NHL hockey. I want to see some NBA basketball. I love the NFL, but the NFL is coming to an end. The season's gone by so fast. We're in week 11 here, people. So the NHL, I really hope they come back soon. I really hope that they get together because if you cancel the season over money, bad luck. Now, if you cancel the season because of concerns over COVID, respectable. But if you cancel the season just strictly based off of a few $1 million, shame, 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 shame. All right, now I really want to get to this. The Boston Bruins. Hello! Your captain remains unsigned. Luckily, your captain remains unsigned. But I don't know what's so far apart on how you're far apart on contract. Chara's not going to ask much. The guy probably just wants a 1 year, $2 million deal as he's been getting the last couple of seasons and move on. What's so flippin' hard about that? I've heard nothing on the Bruins front based off of roster news. We don't know what's going on with Jake DeBrusk. What about Brendan Carlo? For Pete's sake, what about Chara? Where's our captain? Is he leaving? Because their team's interested. Along the bottom, I said, goodbye, captain? I hope not. There are 3 teams that are interested in Zdeno Chara right now. The Toronto Maple Leafs, the Pittsburgh Penguins, and the New York Islanders. I will accept the Islanders because that is where he began his career. But Don Sweeney and Cam Neely, if you let Zdeno Chara go to 2 of your biggest rivals in the Eastern Conference, aka the Penguins or the Maple Leafs, I'm going to puke in my shoes. I will literally puke in my shoes and deliver it to Causeway via USPS because I'm not driving into Boston. But I will send you my barf shoes because of how disgusted I will be if you allow your captain, the guy who has been the captain of this team since 2006, to just let him walk away. And you don't do anything. You let him walk away to one of your biggest Eastern Conference rivals. And either the Maple Leafs, who's also a division rival, or the Penguins, who are a conference rival and could be a division rival for the 2020-21 season. I will puke in my shoes. Absolutely puke in my shoes if you allow Zdeno Chara to walk. You let him walk, I would be absolutely disgusted. And look, I'm not the only one. A lot of us would love to see. A lot of us would love to see Zdeno Chara come back for a 15th season in Boston. 14 of his 22 years have been right here in Boston. 8 of his first 22 were split between the Islanders and the Senators. Zdeno Chara came here in 2006. 14 years later, here he is, 43 years old. Still wants to play and be a Boston Bruin. What more do you need, Boston Bruins? What more do you need to hear? The guy wants to be here. The guy wants to play here. What's the holdup? Yes, he's 43 years old. Yes, he's a liability on the penalty kill. Yes, he can't keep up with the game. Fine. Stuff him on the second line with either Grzelcyk or Carlo. Yeah, stick him on the second line with Grzelcyk. Have Carlo and McAvoy be your top 2 guys. Put Chara on the power play and just have him stand in front of the goalie as a screen to get a power play goal. Because Chara's not going to score a power play goal. We all know that. So many options you can do with Chara. All you got to do is just give the man what he wants. It's a 2-year deal, $4 million. Bang, bang, boom. Your captain's back for at least another season or 2, and then he's gone. Now, look, it's easy to name a new captain. Bergeron's most likely going to get it. Krejci's going to be a permanent alternate. Marchand's probably going to be an alternate. But if you need the veteran leadership, you're going to put more pressure on Patrice Bergeron, who has to help still with the young forwards. Now you're going to ask him to help with the young defensemen because he's a 2-way player. That puts a little bit more stress on David Krejci, and doesn't put too much stress on Krejci because you still have Marchand there to help. That puts a lot of stress on Bergeron. You bring back Chara. Chara still has help from Bergeron helping the young defensemen, but Bergeron can still help the young forwards with the help of Krejci and Marchand. Bruins, I just don't know what is the holdup here. But another bone I'd pick with the Bruins quickly, and I'm not sure if any of you have seen it, the reverse retro jersey. This is what we're looking at here. The 1990s look brought in from 2020. Lodo's good. I'm not a huge fan of the bear on the side, Lodo. Not a fan of it. Just look at. I want you to look at the side patch. You see it right there. The jaw's like down, like. It's like, is he ready to bite out of a nut or a squirrel? It would have been again. I know the Bruins are going the '90s route. That's fine, but the yellow again. Look at the yellow jersey. God, if you saw Vegas's and the Bruins and Golden Knights play in 2021, 2022, because I don't think we're going to see any out of conference games in 2020 and 21. If we have a season. Imagine seeing the Bruins and Golden Knights wearing their retro jerseys, and it's starting to look like bottles of ketchup and mustard are skating around the ice. I don't know. Again, I get it. Reverse retro color compared to white. I get it. I do like the logo. I do like the number scheme, same as what's been on the jerseys, but still. All right, the Patriots have won 2 straight games. Can they keep the momentum up against the Houston Texans? We're going to find that out right after this break. You're listening to TitleTown Throwdown here on all SFB and RI platforms. All right, and welcome back to TitleTown Throwdown. Again, I wanted to give you a sneak preview. New segment that we're going to bring into the show is top plays from the week, and you might have seen that video, you may not have, but we're going to get to it. But first, I want to talk a little bit of Patriot football here. What a win against the Baltimore Ravens on Sunday Night Football. A game that was wet and sloppy. A lot of balls that could have turned into turnovers, but the one thing the Patriots did not do for the second consecutive week, and this is where we're really starting to see Cam Newton really be the leader of the group here. He did not allow the ball to be turned over. Cam Newton actually threw for a touchdown pass for a change. He ran one in, but how about that play from Jacoby Myers? Woo-wee! Wasn't that a great play? That's the type of plays that the Patriots are going to have to run the rest of the season if they want to have a chance. Those are the type of plays that the Patriots really need to get. Some trick plays. Myers is a quarterback back in high school, so he can throw the ball. The Patriots need some of that trickery in their game now to going forward. It's the only way the Patriots are really going to win games at this point. And so now you won 2 straight. You're 4-5. Back in the thick of the playoff picture. You're 10th in the AFC now. This is where you really need to start to beat up on some teams while they're down. The Texans, they're 2-7. They're probably not going anywhere. Got to beat them up. The Cardinals, it's going to be a tough game, but a winnable game. It's winnable. All right, it all depends on how well Arizona does tonight against the Seattle Seahawks. And then you got a team like the Chargers, a team that you should beat up on. Beat up on them. The Rams, that's going to be a tough game. Your final 2 NFC West games are going to be tough. They're going to be tough games. Okay? Nothing easy is going to be about them. Nothing easy is going to be about either one. All right, and then after that, you got division-based games. Okay? You got the Dolphins, Bills, and Jets to wrap up the season. And so that spells some good news, too, that you got your 3 divisional opponents at the end of the season. Now, we don't know where the Dolphins are going to be at the end of the year. We don't know where the Bills are going to be at the end of the year. We know where the Jets are going to be. We know where the Jets are going to be. The Jets are going to be dead last. Dead last. In the AFC East, in the AFC, in the NFL, Who knows? The NFC East as a division is giving them a run for their money. That's besides the point, though. The Patriots really need to keep going with their offensive momentum that they built. Continue that offensive momentum that they built, great. If not, well, it's still going to be one of those seasons for the Patriots that you're going to look back on, whether it was a good season or a bad season. Right now, it's on the cusp of a decent season. You wouldn't say that 2 weeks ago, because 2 weeks ago after the Buffalo loss, you said at 2-5, you're like, this is a disaster. If you lost to the Jets, it would have been 2-6, disaster. 2-7 if you lost to the Ravens, forget about it, season's over, pack it up. But no, you came back, you beat the Jets, you proved that you can move the ball offensively for the second consecutive week. Still not consistently, but you proved it. Now, the Ravens, you proved that you can move the ball against the Ravens. You kept Lamar Jackson on the sideline. You didn't force him into – you forced Lamar Jackson to only 55 rush yards. And then the running backs combined only won 60. So if you're the Patriots, you only held him to 115 rushing yards total for the entire game. That's it. You held him to 115 rush yards. Easy peasy. No rushing touchdowns allowed. Now, that being said, you forced Lamar Jackson to throw the ball. Lamar Jackson didn't throw the ball that bad. He was 24 for 34. Cam Newton, on the other hand, he threw the ball very, very effectively. Only passed the ball 17, 18 times. But he passed it efficiently. He passed it effectively. Ran when he needed to. So we're seeing a different Cam Newton than we saw between weeks 3 and 7. Much different Cam Newton. He's protecting the football. He's making better throwing decisions, better running decisions. Cam is going up and up and up. And that's what you want to see. It's what you want to see from your star quarterback. This Cam's on a 1-year deal. A 1-year peanut salary-based deal. With the chance that he could come back and make more money. So that being said, where do the Patriots go from here? They play a very weak Houston Texans team this upcoming week. They fired Bill O'Brien, and they're kicking themselves for DeAndre Hopkins, and you'll see in a minute. Beat up on the teams they can beat up on. Stay competitive in the games that are going to be tough. You did that against the Ravens. So now, if you're a Patriots fan, gives you some hope when they play the Arizona Cardinals in a couple of weeks. It gives you a little bit of confidence when they have to play the Los Angeles Rams on Thursday Night Football in a month. It should give you confidence as a fan that no matter what the obstacles, this team is going to be up for the challenge. And they will be up for the challenge. They absolutely will be. But the question is, how effectively? We still don't know this team to move the ball off effectively, consistently. Well, they've shown that they can move the ball, but can they do it on a regular basis? That's still out on the case. Josh McDaniels, I love him to pieces, but he needs to make better play calling decisions. He had a chance to wrap up the game, not give the Ravens a sniff at the football in the last minute of that game. And you made a bonehead third down play. Now, granted, it benefited you in the end because the Ravens, they just couldn't do anything on their last drive, and it was pouring rain. It was pouring rain. So anyway, what do the Patriots need to do to get a win in Houston this week? Same things they've been doing the last couple of weeks. Move the ball methodically down the field, chew up some clock, get the yardage that you need to get, and just play mistake-free football, as they have done each of the last 2 weeks. I would say 3, but we cannot forget about the fumble Cam made. We just can't forget about it. But keep Deshaun Watson off the field. This Texans team is not the same as what it was a year ago, so that's beneficial to you. Not very beneficial to the Texans. But anyway, that is that. But anyway, new segment I want to bring in is called Play of the Week, TitleTown Play of the Week, and we are going to Arizona. The end of that Cardinals-Bills game. You ladies and gentlemen, you gotta take a look at this throw from Kyler Murray to DeAndre Hopkins.
Shotgun. Murray out of the pocket. 7 seconds. 6 seconds. Murray heaves it downfield. It is. Oh, it's caught. It is caught. DeAndre Hopkins. Miraculous. It's Murray magic. Four defenders in the area, and DeAndre Hopkins is the man who comes away with it.
What a play from DeAndre Hopkins. What a throw. What an absolute missile of a throw by Kyler Murray. That is what earned them the TitleTown Play of the Week. We're going to try to make this a regular thing. And, we're going to try to throw in any type of highlight that we can find, especially during COVID. We're going to try to keep it relevant to the major four sports. And it doesn't have to be Boston-based strictly. If a Boston team makes an outstanding play, we're going to show it. If they don't, but someone else from another team makes it, we're going to show it. All right. Don't forget. Do not forget to check out the Tom Gronkowski Show with Ruth the Truth and Coach Jay every Wednesday night at 9 p.m. The Tom Gronkowski Show. The Tom Gronkowski Show with Ruth the Truth every Wednesday at 9 p.m. to see what Tom Brady and Rob Gronkowski are doing down in Tampa Bay. These are pretty good down in Tampa Bay. They're 7-3. All right, one more segment to go here. It's Nick's Picks, my favorite segment. I really do hope it is your favorite segment. Game picks. Right after this, you're watching TitleTown Throwdown here on all SFB and RI platforms. And welcome back to TitleTown Throwdown. It is time for Week 11 game picks. All right, you can see the list of games this week rolling around on the bottom of your screen, so you know who's playing who's at where, what week it is. And can you imagine that? We've gone through 10 weeks of NFL football. It didn't look pretty for a little while, let's admit. It did not look pretty for a while with all the COVID issues between the Titans and the Patriots. And we're still having COVID issues, but the NFL has found a way to power through it all. So let's begin Thursday Night Football this week. The Arizona Cardinals taking on the Seattle Seahawks at the newly named Lennon Field. I like Century Link Field better, but the company changed the name now. Battle for first place in the NFC West, where you got the Cardinals, Seahawks, and Rams all at 6-3. Only one team will lead the division by a half game tonight for at least 3 days. The way that Seattle's been playing the last 2 weeks hasn't been bad, but it hasn't been great either. Russ Wilson, he's turning the ball over way too much. And Kyler Murray, he's playing out of his mind. We just saw his great highlight there. DeAndre Hopkins in triple coverage. I'm going to go to the Arizona Cardinals in this one over the Seattle Seahawks. I really hate to do that. I love Seattle. I like the way they play. But the way that Russ Wilson's been throwing the ball lately, it should be a free-for-all right now. So I am going to go the Arizona Cardinals winning this one. Arizona takes first place 7-3, and Seattle falls to third place at 6-4. All right, the 2-6-1 Cincinnati Bengals visiting the 2-7 Washington football team. The Bengals got their butts handed to them last week against the Steelers. No surprise there, though I had them as an upset pick. It's a matchup between 2020 top overall picks and Joe Burrow and Trae Young. I like Burrow and the Bengals in this one. I really do. So I'm going to go the Bengals in this one. The Bundles, as I call them. Cincinnati goes to 3-7-1, and the Washington football team falls to 2-8. All right. After a scare last week, the Indianapolis Colts, the Green Bay Packers, sit at 7-2. They visit the Indianapolis Colts, who are 6-2. The Colts have allowed 270.4 yards per game this year. That is the fewest in the NFL, 290. So good luck trying to stop Aaron Rodgers and the Packers. This is going to be a great game, but I'm going to go Green Bay. They come back offensively and defensively, get the win. Green Bay improves to 8-2, and the Colts will fall to 6-4. All right, the 3-6 Atlanta Falcons take on the 7-2 New Orleans Saints. Atlanta's won 3 of the last 4 games. Under Morrison, C took over for Dan Quinn, who got fired. I like New Orleans in this one. Even without Drew Brees, I think Jameis Winston and Taysom Hill can get it done. I think this is really a showcase for Jameis Winston that he can play at the NFL level and not turn the ball over every 6 passes. So no, the Saints improved to 8-2. Falcons fall to 3-7 and virtually knocked them out of any potential playoff race. The 9-0 Pittsburgh Steelers visit the 1-8 Jacksonville Jaguars. Jacksonville's lost their last 8 games after winning their season opener. This could potentially be another trap game for the Steelers. Even though I said that last week, and how did that turn out? I still think that this is a trap game, but I'm still going to go the Pittsburgh Steelers in this one. Steelers remain perfect at 10-0, and the Jaguars fall to 1-9. The Patriots are New England Patriots who are going to Houston. Pats are set at 4-5. Texans sit at 2-7. Houston has allowed 167.4 rush yards per game. That is the most in the National Football League. That bodes well for the Patriots place game, by the way. Since Bill O'Brien got fired at 0-4, the Texans are 2-3 under Romeo Crennel. The Texans have been playing much better football, but the rushing game is the Patriots' bread and butter this week. So I'm going to go the Pats. Pats get back to the 500 mark, and the Texans fall to 2-8. The 3-6-1 Philadelphia Eagles take on the 6-3 Cleveland Browns. Philly has won 5 straight games against the Browns. The way the Eagles played last week against the Giants, they should be ashamed of themselves. The way the Browns have been playing, the way the Browns played last week against the Texans, where was the offense? Oh my God. I thought no one was ever going to score in that game. But the Browns ended up with the 3-point win, 10-7. I think this might be a trap game for the Browns, and this is a game that the Eagles should win. So I'm going to know Philly over Cleveland here. Philly improves to 4-5-1, and the Browns fall to 6-4. After a very great game, after a very close game against the Washington football team last week, the Lions sit at 4-6. They visit the 3-7 Panthers, who just defensively did not show up against Tom Brady and the Bucs. Carolina has lost 5 straight games since they started 3-2. I'm going to go Detroit. I think they get back to the 500 mark. So Detroit over Carolina. Detroit to 5-5. Carolina the 3-8. The 6-3 Titans take on the 6-3 Baltimore Ravens. This was the team that ended the Ravens' run last year. And the Titans are looking to continue that run. Baltimore has allowed 18.3 points per game. That is the fewest in the NFL. The Titans, they do like to score a bunch, score early and often. But I think the Ravens rebound here. Baltimore improves to 7-3, and the Titans fall to 6-4. West Coast games, the 0-9 Jets take on the 2-7 Chargers. Joe Flacco is 2-12 in his last 14 starts, dating back to his days with the Ravens and the Broncos. Now look, the Chargers, they are having a hard time holding leads in games. And they're just finding new ways to lose, just like the Falcons. The Jets put up a great game against the Patriots on Monday Night Football a couple weeks ago. I still like the LA Chargers here under the Chargers. Chargers improved to 3-7, and the Jets fall to 0-10 because they're the Jets, and they find ways to lose. The 6-3 Dolphins take on the 3-6 Broncos. Denver's lost 3 of the last 4 games. Now, originally, this game was supposed to be way back when, but with the NFL rescheduling events, this week is actually supposed to be both the Broncos and Dolphins bye week, but now it's their game week. Anyway, though, I like the Dolphins this one. Dolphins go to 7-3, and the Broncos fall to 3-7. All right, the 2-7 Cowboys take on the 4-5 Minnesota Vikings. Minnesota coming off a short week. Minnesota's won 3 straight games since they started the season 1-5. The way Minnesota's playing is just great. Kirk Cousins is finding his footing. This offense is clicking. I like the Vikings this one. Vikings suddenly get back to 5-5, back in the NFC playoff picture, and the Cowboys fall to 2-8. Sunday Night Football, this is a cannot-miss game. The 8-1 Chiefs looking for revenge against the 6-3 Raiders. Their only loss came Week 5 against these said Raiders at Arrowhead. Other than that, Kansas City's won 14 of the last 15 games, including the playoffs. I like this matchup. I think it's going to be fun. I didn't know the Kansas City Chiefs in this one, though. Chiefs improved to 9-1, and the Raiders fall to 6-4, and the Chiefs will really solidify themselves as one of the top teams in the NFL and probably clinch a playoff spot in while at it. All right, to wrap up the week, Monday Night Football, the LA Rams, who set at 6-3, they are traveling across country to Florida to play Tom Brady and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. What a nice bounce-back game offensively against the Panthers. Defense still needs some work. The Rams, they've allowed 18.7 points per game. That is the second fewest in the NFL, only behind the Ravens. I think the Bucs win this one. They scrape by with a 3-point win, but I'm going to give it to Brady and the Bucs. Brady goes to 7-3, and the Rams, the Buccaneers go to 8-3, and the Rams fall to 6-4, and that'll keep the Cardinals at the top of the NFC West. Bye week teams, we're running out of those. The Bears, Niners, Giants, and Bills are all off this week. The Bears, they need to figure something out. They got a week to figure it out. And a couple weeks to figure it out because the Bears, since they started out 3-0, they are 2-5 under Nick Foles. All right, that'll do it for TitleTown Throwdown this week. MMA complete with Zach Drapo is coming right up on all SFBNRI platforms. But for now, I'm Nick LeBlanc. We'll talk to you right after the holiday break, right after Thanksgiving. So, and happy Thanksgiving, everyone. Enjoy all the nice turkey and the 3 NFL games that we're going to have next week. But take care.